Guys, we'll be starting in a minute or so, so call all your friends as fast as possible. Then we'll begin the session.
Also, guys, it would be really great if you can turn on your cameras. We can have some amazing pictures with you. Now, you guys are here ना ऑन करके छोड़ के तो नहीं चले गए हो. You can use the chat box. Also, guys, ये ऑनलाइन क्लास नहीं है तो it's a bit interactive session. अगर तुम लोग ऐसे करोगे तो how will take the session ahead?
Or on color videos. I mean, like, it's better because if it was offline session, then anyways we would be seeing your face, but it'll be better if you just switch on your video. We can interact better then.
Hi guys, we should ask names now to turn on your cameras. Okay, let's do this. This Animesh, Anshika, Ashutosh, that IIIT Surat people who have proudly written underscore IIIT, please turn on your cameras, yaar. Okay, so cool. We should get started right now. Okay, the PPT is visible to you all. Guys, at least respond with yes or no so that we can move ahead.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Cool. You can write any of your doubts, any of your queries, or anything you want to ask in the chat box. Turn on your camera so we can have pics with you. And okay, let's get started. So here we are with Solution Challenge Design Day. So what comes to your mind when you think of the word design? Anyone? People?
UX designing.
Okay. Anyone else?
Something attractive and appealing.
Okay.
Visual presentation of ideas.
Okay. Anyone else? So mostly we think that design is about front end, about UI, about UX, graphics, vectors, right? Okay, let me ask you one more question. What will you do if I ask you to make a to-do list in your favorite language? What will you do? It'd be Python, it'd be Java, it'd be JavaScript. What will you do? You will straight away use your keyboard, you will type, you will code, right? And we mostly think that most of the problems that we think are just solved by code. Design is actually not just about UI UX, it's actually about the complete product. In fact, product design occupies 40% of the total task. Coding just is 20 to 30% that even comes after the design. So if you don't have design, you cannot code. Most of the companies work on this cycle. They create an idea, they build the design, they launch the product, then they learn, they get the feedback, and this cycle continues. Most of the companies that we see follow agile methodology. Any of you have idea about what agile is?
तुक्का भी मार सकते हो. We're fine with it.
Okay, we are not giving you numbers or anything for this. So your task is search about agile, how big companies use this method to design their complete product. So basically what you
Is
do
it
is,
like building, then testing, and then pivoting the idea?
exactly, and this thing goes on. Agile means flexible. Everything you take a feature, you design it, you code it, then you release the feature. Then you take another feature, you design it, you code it, and then you release it. Instead of releasing a complete product, you release small features. And most of the companies follow this criteria, follow this method. So design is not just about UI UX, it's about how you look for the client requirement, what frameworks you choose, that all depends upon the design. What database is best. It's never about that ye framework trending hai, ye database trending hai, let's put this, let's integrate this, and let's work on it. Sometimes you need SQL, sometimes you need no SQL. All these things depends upon the design that you create. So this was a brief introduction that we are going to take you through how to create a good product. So we are going to take you first to the part that is most engaging when you open a website. What comes first when you open any website or any app or anything?
Home screen.
Okay. Landing page, right? And suppose karo that the website you have opened, the app you have opened, it has amazing functionalities, but it's front page or landing page is worse. Are you going to recommend this site to anyone or this app to anyone? So here comes the UI UX part, which actually is most engaging for the users to come back to that particular application ahead. So from UI UX, I hand over to Amy. She'll explain you about it.
Yeah, hi guys. Okay, so I'll be like talking about the UI UX designing on how you should actually approach it. So as Ekta said, first thing that's important in the application development, you need to come up with a proper designing. Okay, so first thing is visual and product design. So does anyone have any idea? It can be any vague definition also. We're completely fine. So does anyone have an idea what visual and product design may indicate? You're free to talk. And if you don't know also, it's completely fine. Okay. Okay, yeah. So one part is designing screens and interfaces. So moving to the next slide. Okay, that's more next. So the thing is that whenever you design, you need to make sure that your website is appealing, because obviously you are making the website or the application for the user. So if the user is not going to find it appealing or it's pretty fast in loading, then they're going to like get annoyed with it and just throw it away. So the application you make needs to be for the user as well, and you need to account for all kind of users. So your particular design that you make should throw off the signature that okay, this is my brand XYZ, and the product I have created, the design I have created shows that it has been made by my brand itself. Okay, and it should be really easily readable and use also. You shouldn't include much complicated things so that the user has no idea on how to even use it. So I'll be like teaching you like step-by-step processes, like how it will be good enough so that you can create a good product design with UI UX as well. Okay, so moving on. So Pella is information hierarchy. So basically that means that your particular product needs to provide some information to the user, right? So for that you need a proper step-by-step. So sometimes what happens is that you create a product, but it doesn't really have a good flow. Okay, so you need to have a good particular flow of the particular application. So I'll be showing you, explaining you an example on how a good hierarchy is. So on to the next slide. Okay, so don't go in depth of what this particular screen is meaning. All we just wanted to say in this that this particular hierarchy is a flow. Okay, so first what you want to know is that you will take the particular images and then store it into cloud. Okay, so that's what you want to do with the particular application. So you want to take the images, store it into the cloud, and for that you want to use, and you want to do some text detection or any other algorithm, and for that you want to use different APIs. Okay, so you need to have a proper flow on how it needs to be. Okay, so that's what it shows. Do not again get intimidated or go by the particular meanings of all this terminology said here. So here is just saying that first Broadway, that you will get the images from the cloud. Okay, that's your particular high thing you want to derive it, and then you go about it and go like, okay, I'm going to use the Google Cloud APIs, which offers many different solutions. They have wide range of services and APIs. So under that you go and think about using the two subcategories. So here they've given one APIs and the other APIs. They both have different use cases for which you can research, but the main idea of this is the flow. So first you know which particular major part you want to do, then you go about what API or any external party I'm going to use, and under that you go like which sub services you want to use. So that's about the information hierarchy. You need to be very well known about the flow of the whole application. Now moving on to the next is the color. So Ekta. Okay, so the thing is that whenever you see any particular application, they have a particular logo, and the entire application is based on a set of a color palette. So if you see Google, then Spotify, or any other major brands, or Amazon, so their entire application has like a set of colors they are going to use on their website. So when you see those set of colors, you go like, oh, it is this particular brand. So whenever you make an application, you need to make sure that you have a proper set of color palette, though not just random colors you want to make. You want to get a proper set, and that will signify your particular brand of your product. So now we are going to like showcase a few color brands. So I want to see if you guys can actually know about it. So you guys can type in the chat box or speak up. No worries in the method you want to use. So does anyone know the brand of each by just seeing the colors of each brand here? It can be wrong also. Nobody's going to judge you.
Second one, Spotify. And sorry, WhatsApp. WhatsApp. Second one, WhatsApp.
Uh-huh. It is Spotify though, but okay. Does anyone know the last one? Google, nice. Does anyone know the first and the third one? Ah, cute. Ah,
Think about first one little bit more.
Yeah, it's not exactly. MS Teams has a much different shade of blue.
Yeah, not LinkedIn exactly.
But the last one and the green one are right. The Spotify and Google, they
Green one
come
is
right.
Spotify and last one is Google.
Aha, they came onto the
Facebook.
spot. Yeah, it is. Oh,
And the third one is not Facebook. Which one is Facebook?
yeah. Which one are you talking? First one is which? Okay.
First one is Facebook.
Okay, good. What's the third one, guys? Nobody's guessing the third one.
Third one is going to be difficult.
It's something I don't know if people normally use it, but
No,
it's a
the first one
third.
is Discord, Telegram,
Telegram.
Twitter.
Telegram, I don't think has that shade of blue. Aha, they're coming. Yeah. Okay, guys. See,
Yeah.
okay. So you guys guessed most of it right. So proud of you. So the main aim of this is like every single color palette has like a particular brand. You could easily guess Spotify. It was a little bit difficult to guess Facebook because, well, it lands with the different shades. But for those who guessed it wrong, it's completely fine. There's no points on anything in this, but good job. Okay, so the whole aim from this is that whenever you make a particular product, then that has to have a set of colors that will signify your whole application. Okay, so you use this particular set of colors everywhere because they suit. So there are many websites that give a particular color scheme palette, so you can use that as well. Now, moving on next is that grid system. So what we have done is we know now our flow of the particular products we have. So we know the information hierarchy. Second, we know the color of the brand. Now, the third thing that's important is how you're going to place the components everywhere on your application. That's very important because you, as a user, when I see a particular application, then I want to see maximum information. So let's say, for example, if you can move to the next slide. Uh, okay, okay, I'll just give the example. So let's say when you open a YouTube video, okay, so on the left whole side, you can see all the comments, description, video, and on the right hand side is all the extra suggestions and the uh, more videos about that. Okay, so all suggestions depending on yours. Okay, so this whole thing, this whole display of information just gives the right maximum use of it. So I see the particular video, then I get like, okay, I can see the video, I can see the description, can read the comments, and can also view other videos based on the recommendation. Okay, so that's how the whole thing is said. The main frame, that the whole video part is gone to the left hand side, and all the recommendation grid part is gone on the right hand side. So it's very important on how you actually do the placement of every single component. You need to make it such that it's very easy to understand, and also that you can provide a maximum understanding from your from all your component setup in this. So that's the basic idea of UI UX design. So it's not only about designing. So next we are going to cover technical architecture, and for that we have a guest speaker, Kshitiz Miglani, and he is an SDA at Amazon. So he will be continuing with the technical architecture now.
Right.
Meanwhile, if you guys have any question or any query, you can put it in the chat box. We'll ask Sir in the end.
Right. For me, it's going to be a pretty interactive. I would want people to get here and talk to me as much as possible. It's not a class that I'm taking, but something like we are sharing some experience we have and some knowledge that we have. The students who have arranged this have done really good jobs in making all these wonderful PPTs and everything. So it's really nice initiative that you guys are pulling on. I'll start with a brief introduction for myself. My name is Kshitiz Miglani. I've been working as a software developer at Amazon right now, and I've worked with Paytm and Samsung as well. I did my engineering from NSIT, and also I've been working with some startups in education technology domains, And just I would always want to give back to the students, and like I have this innate feeling that I have something to give back to the society. For that, I've been mentoring a lot of students, like hundreds of students. I have I have a small server where I try to help with whatever knowledge I have to help the students out here. That's just like this. Me coming here is just a part of that. And now coming back to the PPT. In this workshop, we'll be discussing practicing around design a solution with like all the things that are related to technical architecture. Okay. Moving on to the next slide. Right. Okay.
I guess. You mean you have the updated one?
Yes, I have the updated one. This is slide number 17, right?
Okay. So would you share the screen?
No, I think.
I'll share it.
Yeah, cool. I'll stop.
Okay. In the right side, there is the button for present option, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Cool. All right. I think we'll start with this. So think of yourself as some company that you're starting or some project that you're making, an application that you're making. What comes to your mind in the first place that you're making this application? You are trying to solve this problem that a lot of students or the target audience that you're looking for is actually having that problem. You're trying to look into the problem and trying to come up with a technological solution for that problem. What goes in your mind first is that it'll require some code. So you might be thinking about what all languages do you have to choose and how do you make this code work, and would it require something? But there is much more to technical architecture than just like what all code goes behind it. So definitely almost everything that works behind an application is just code, but then these codes are like segmented into different categories. So there is front end, there is back end. In back end also there is the code that runs on the back end, and there are data services, other services that you might be also using. Everything goes on in like a complete harmony to make a complete product work. So like I work in Amazon. Amazon has its app. Mainly there are so many services that Amazon is providing, but one of them is this Amazon.com as its own website. So it has a huge database and a huge backend running behind just to have that front end in place. All those sellers who are coming to take to like enlist and onboard all those things, and then the users are coming to buy objects, and anybody who is having any transaction that has to be handled. Everything has some code. But just to say that it is code, it would be unfair. There are so many domains. There are so many domains inside the code that we are talking about. Like some code is working day and night just to maintain the life cycle of the complete order that you have placed. And some code is working just to store things out. Some code is working just to see if the logistics department can figure out a way. Like I am in Delhi. If I order something from Hyderabad, there's a complete service that is going to see if it is feasible for them to get that package and how much time will it take. Everything is working as a service in our complete architecture. Moving on, next slide, can you go? Okay, so now just talking about the three main things that you need to do before you get into a design. Like an Amazon would be an unfair thing to give an example because it has evolved over so many years and it's very complex inside it. But let's say that you had to make your own website, you had to make your own startup, let's say, and you are working on your own project. So and you are your own CTO. Now you have to develop your project from very scratch. And now what are the things that you will be considering? Then how do you make that design? So there are three things majorly that you have to think about. First thing is the consideration. What are all the constraints? Who is your audience? How many people are going to get? How many load factors are coming in? All those things, everything that you have to talk about constraints, like numbers, literal numbers. Then research, basically on your constraints, you're going to find out what all things will work or not, and what all things do you have to choose as your tools or any third-party APIs, services that you would want to collaborate with to get things that you are considering in place. All those tools now have to come into a very synchronous harmony, that everything now is sorted, that these are the things that you're going to use, but how is your data going to flow? Is it going to first go into the database? Are there checks in the front or in the back? How are you going to manage the sessions? What kind of things are you going to use? All that comes in the third part. That is the design of your complete life cycle of any flow that is happening. Can we move on to the next slide? Cool. Now discussing about the considerations, what kind of questions would it include? Something like, what does my application require? The basic fundamental questions. How many people are on my team? How experienced are we? Why is it important that how experienced are we? It basically means how much complex can we make it in the first go? Let's say that we are still very novice and we don't know much about it. So we would not want to take something that we cannot deliver. If I'm running my team and my team is more suitable for Ruby on Rails, then there is another team that is more suitable on Java. I wouldn't be too stringent about which technology to pick just because I think that technology is suitable, but my whole team cannot deliver on that efficiency. So more like if Java is better for this, but Ruby is also on good line, then there is a very big value to choose Ruby because more people in my team can deliver more on that. So the experience part counts in that sense. Languages, tech are we comfortable in? What is our budget? Budget is a big thing. We have to see what we want to achieve, and there is always a better solution, a faster solution, a much more efficient solution, but then it costs a lot. So we have to see where we are trying to invest our money in. Money is always an issue. Like money is always a concern. I wouldn't say it's an issue, a concern for even the big top tech giants also. Everything has to be very scalable, but has to be maintained in certain limits of budget. Then the timelines that you're talking about, how accelerated is the timeline, how much load, everything that this API is going, let's say that there are 500 users coming in a day, then I can make a small thing that, okay, these are the major hours in which the traffic will be coming, and this will be my API. It should withstand this much requests, and that's how much I would want my server to be scaled upon. All those things would come under your considerations, everything like this, what technologies I have to integrate with, everything. Moving on to step number 2, Amy. Right. Okay. So step number 2 is doing your own research. Research basically is that you're trying to find all the tools that are already built for which you can directly use and outsource direct. You don't have to build your login page from scratch, trying to build your login tools, everything. A lot of these tools and services are already being provided. Already a lot of things have been made that you can directly use. Some of them are already open source, and some of them are paid resources. But everything, like if you're building your project, there are some parts that you'll have to buy, but it's much more easier for you to directly integrate. Like for example, if I have to make my sign-in system, it would be much easier for me to rely upon Google to take care of all the security and vulnerabilities that can come with the sign-in system than to make my own sign-in system. Because I am not the expert here in that domain. I want to make my website. Sign-in is a very small part. But for me to take care of all the things and become the expert at that, that's not how you go. You would want your pace and your direction to be very streamlined. That, okay, this is my objective. I want to make a working application in, let's say, next 2 months or something, like 1 month or something. If that's the case, then you would want to use all the tools and every service that can provide you, and the rates in the comparison that you're launching in a product are very reasonable usually. So you can look into much of the technologies that are given by Google. There is something like they have like subsidized things, services for the students as well. So you can look into this link that we have given, this bit.ly link, Google Cloud Forwards. Basically, it is like a cheat sheet for the developers for all the services that Google is providing, and they have summarized the complete service and its functionality in like 4 or less words, something like this. And this on the sheet that we are looking, the screen that we are looking is like an extended pack, like what all can come into it, and we have worked it out and concised it over here. You can go on the link also if you want. Somebody can post the link in the comments or something for students to look in. But yeah, that's more about it. Like we have different categories in Android, then there are Flutter, TensorFlow for ML and all, everything like this. You can go into this and look for what all purposes you would want things to be that you would need to scale your application to a certain level, the kind of things that you're expecting your application to do, you would get from here on. Can we move on to the next slide? Right. Now that you have kind of decided onto all the tools that you would be requiring, this is the time where the fun part starts, or the meaty part of the tech design comes into play. Currently, we were figuring out what we want and how we are going to do it, but now it's the part that we have to assemble everything in a way it is very efficient. How does the efficiency comes in place? Your design, like everybody can make a design. How is a good design different than bad design? A good design is very extensible. A good design has a lot of opportunities, and if one thing goes down, other things do not go down. So these are like design principles and some things that you can read. I'll give us some references where you can actually go into depth of how to make a very good design architecture. But what a bad design would do is that if something goes down, everything goes down. Or maybe it was supposed to work for 10 users or 20 users an hour, but now when the things are scaling up, your whole design has to be changed. This is a bad design, that you didn't think it would scale up and now it's scaling up. So you have to change a lot of your code, a lot of your things, basically redesign everything. That's a bad design. So that's what you would want to do as much as possible, that, okay, now 100 users are coming. Tomorrow, if 1,000 users are going, what am I going to change here so that that all is also accommodated and efficiently run? We don't want to overscale things also. If I know that one host or one server can actually help the traffic that I am dealing with, I shouldn't run hundreds of servers for now just to have a design which is workable for a bigger population, because that would be very inefficient on the cost side. So you would want to make something in which in minimal changes, it can accommodate both the things, something on the bigger side and on the lower side also. So on both the ends, you have to make things. So now you have front end in which you have to see what all things for the UI UX you have to choose. And Amy took a good part about it, that what do you actually keep your preferences in line to get a very good user experience, keeping it very streamlined, very like a minimalistic but a good look, so that the user is not actually baffled with all the things that you're doing here, and he has a very smooth onboarding process and everything. Then there is backend where your code is running, your services are running, all that part on the server side is running on that. Then you have storages, which database to use. Maybe you have multiple databases of different sites. It's not just about that you have to choose one. Maybe for one kind of task you have SQL, for other kind of tasks you have NoSQL databases and everything. Other services basically is the component that you are going to outsource, something that you have built already. Some things you're going to outsource from other, like using Google APIs, Google Maps API, if you're making some of your own web architecture in which the location is required. Then there are other APIs of Google, like all these APIs on very nominal cost. I think for students, most of these things are also having a free tier. So you can have an experience in a lot of things just by enrolling into like a Google code developer. I'm not sure about this, but yes, there are subsidies for students. Everybody wants people to start at an early age and would want to adapt to their system. So Google is also pushing for that. Moving on to the next slide, I think. Right. That's most about it. Yes.
Okay, guys. Thank you, sir, for engaging. And now we'll be conducting a small activity right now along that I have planned for you guys. So I hope you please interact with us. Also, if you have any queries at any point, you can put it in the chat box. So we will cover it at the end of the session though. So Ekta, could you take over for the sprinting?
So guys, we have an activity like design sprint. Now you know UI UX, you know what design plays a role in any of the product, any of the real world problem. So what we are going to do, we are going to give you are going to choose any real world problem. You are going to come up with a solution for that. You are going to think about the use cases, the users who are potential, who are facing that problems, and how your idea can solve. Meanwhile, you can also go for later on prototyping and validating that thing to the users. So we are going to give, let's take an example, I guess, Amy. We should explain them by an example.
Okay, let's first see the example. Okay,
I guess it's a previous one.
this
Yeah. So we all know that it's really difficult to buy glasses or hats online, right? The one thing that comes to everyone's mind is lens card. So let's assume we are in a hypothetical universe where lens card does not exist and we have to create lens card from scratch. So the first thing, what do you guys think we should do? I guess Amy, it's the next slide.
The problem and map. Okay, guys, you can type in the chat box. Any answer is right for us right now.
Anyone? Suppose you have to build something like lens card from scratch. What would you do first? Okay, we'll live in the universe without lens card.
Yeah, you can go back to what Kshitiz sir taught about how we are going to actually make a whole architecture. So you can think about consideration and research things. So in that, what you all will do. So I think people are coming close to it though.
Fine, yes, we'll collect the data of the user base, we'll take a survey. So first of all, we'll look out who we think are the potential customers of our solution or who we think are facing this problem. Let's suppose two of your friends are facing this problem. Let's say A and B, you can name them anything. Now you know that there are two customers. Now you need to design the thing, how you are going to put that solution to the people. What are the use cases? How your people are going to interact with that solution. So next comes the design part. Think about, sketch about the design, what you want to put in your web app. It can be website, it can be application. Obviously, we'll break it into sub problems, but what are the sub problems? What are the issues that you think you might face when you are designing such solution? Lens number and frame type, right? Which thing should go where? Frame size. How will be the layout? Colors. So basically the USP of your product is its ability to show people actually how they look in a particular frame. So the main complexity of your product lies in your USP. How will you show people, how will you take their images, how will you show them that how they look in a particular hat or a particular frame, right? How many of you have used Lenskart for online shopping? Anyone? Anyone, guys?
Okay, I don't think people buy online glasses.
So if you visit Lenskart website, if you want to try any of the classes or anything virtually, they'll ask you to show your face along with a card on your head. They'll detect your face and accordingly they'll set the frames on your face. Have you guys tried, anyone of you have tried this thing?
If anyone has tried it, they can actually like tell how it actually works for them.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, who is speaking?
So, yeah, so they take the permission of camera and then you can see yourself in the UI and they scan your dimensions of your face and according to that they show you the size and also how the specs will look on you. So
Right. So firstly, you have taken out your users. Secondly, you have designed how you want to keep the things. You want to keep something that can show user how they look, that may be using AR integration, using machine learning integration. Then you have a complete structure of product delivery that you need to integrate in it. Finally, when complete these things are done, you need to go to the client to tell them that what you have created is actually useful. Suppose the features you have added might look good to you, but they might be quite complex for the people that they won't even use that feature. That thing comes in the validation part. When you take your product out after prototyping, you take your product to people, they validate, they tell you that if it is correct or if it is complex or not. So this is how a complete product workflow goes. After the validation, you go for some correction, and this cycle continues till you get this product into the market. And it's not about the complete product. If you take a small feature also, this feature goes in the market and it is again validated and again tested on so many customers, and after that the final launch is done, the final product is available to you.
Like, I'll just give a teeny tiny addition example. So I don't know how many people actually use GitHub, but whenever they come up with any completely new layout or new different feature, they give you a notification and ask for your feedback every single time. And that works with almost every single app for sure. Because I think some of you may have done beta testing also. So if you actually apply for beta testing of application, so in that they actually take your pura feedback, and based on that they will think on what features you liked and what features you hated, and then they will make it much better for you. Because whenever you make application, even if you do care about if it looks aesthetic and good to you, you need to care more for the users, because well, in the end your application is going to be used by them itself. Okay, so now I think we should move on to actually the activity now.
Yeah.
Okay, so guys, now it's time for you guys to speak up. Okay, so basically you can think of any real world problem you know about, then like no need to frame it completely very well with proper English and all, just tell it us out. So a real world application or any problem that you know is going on and a solution for that. We are not going to be building prototypes over here right now. So you guys can think for a while and see right now. There are many problems that exist in the world still which haven't been solved yet. So we will give about 3 to 5 minutes, I think.
You're free to unmute and say if you get any problem statement. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure,
You
go
can
ahead.
unmute, and we would love if you guys actually unmute and speak.
Hello.
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay. Hello, I'm Zeel. Like right now, I can think of one current problem, and that will be related to our online classes. Now, since everything is online right now, education, so now many a times if we want to ask clear our doubts, suppose, or like if we want to gather the notes, or if we want to collect all the important information, so it generally comes in WhatsApp group, and which becomes quite tedious, and it is like, we cannot manage it properly at one place, so we have to, so like there should be a common place where everything, like, we have all the lectures going on, and we have all the material at that, like in systematic order, and we have doubt counter also over there, and where which even student can help each other out in that sort of forum. So I think this is something I can think of right now.
Nice. Can you identify your use cases and can you design a bit, like sketch a bit?
That's why.
What is use cases?
Users, the potential users of
Achha.
your application.
Yes, okay.
So if I just want to like ask, you don't have to feel pressure or something.
Huh.
Why would I use your product over Zeal? Okay, why would I use your product over classrooms and Teams? If I had to, what additional features that would be there that I don't have to use Google Classroom for that, which already provides, I think, syllabus and everything.
So let's give you guys an example. So in the online, we all know that video calling is offered by Zoom, offered by Google Meet, offered by MS Team. Which one you prefer most? All three are products, all three have features, but which one you prefer most?
You can tap in the chat box, guys.
Yeah. Personally, I prefer Zoom. Rest you guys can answer.
गाइस ये कौन बने करोड़पति का क्वेश्चन नहीं है, बहुत इजी है, biased question actually.
Okay. Some people like Teams, some people like Google Meet, right? Now the thing is, all the three products are providing you the video calling feature. What makes you choose one product over another? Like why you choose Google Meet? Why not Zoom? Why not Teams? Anyone would like to answer that?
If you want, we can. Okay. No. Any additional thing like? Okay.
Simple UI of Google Meet. Okay.
Some people who said Teams and Zoom also can like answer.
Okay. See guys, there are three products who are providing the same thing, the video calling thing. But we are choosing one product over another. All three products are competitors. What makes them different is their features. What one provides, the other does not provide. So if you are launching a product, if you think that I'm going to put this product in the market for consumers, if there is some other product that is available, then you should have some features that put an edge over that product. That's how people are going to shift to your product. So if you design a product, if you design a problem statement, it's not just about the coding part, the designing the database. It's about how you're going to put that product in the market, how users are going to react to that product, and how your product will put an edge over the other products. It might be unique product, it might be, some product that is totally available in the market, but you want something else in that. Like Signal and WhatsApp. No one knew Signal like time back, but yeah. Now everyone knows Signal. All the functionalities of WhatsApp are much better, but people are shifting towards Signal.
Guys, it's all based on features. So even if you make the same kind of product, relative product, but if you add a new feature that you feel is an actual problem worth solving, then users are going to be attracted to it. That's what I'm saying. So even if Zeal suggested forums and all. So that's a good way, because that I do not think students actually are out to interact and all much in Google Classrooms. So that's fine. Anyone else who came up with a problem and a solution though? It could be anything.
Hello.
Yeah.
You actually asked one question that how will it be different from classroom or Teams?
Mhm.
So can I
Yeah,
suggest?
yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So basically, generally in Google Classroom or Teams, the power is in the hand of professors or all the teachers. They send in the materials and all. But here, there will be a systematic storage order-wise of each and every study material, and there will be also doubt session which students can also like answer. And if like there are other students who can question, like and other students can get the notification from different branch-wise. So then there will be different important discussion sessions. So that will be in the form of chat. We can also keep that. So there will be more features, and it will be having a more systematic, it should be more systematic. That's what I feel.
Nice.
That's good.
Guys,
Anyone else,
anyone
guys?
else? मतलब कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है,
एक
सबकी लाइफ
minute.
सॉर्टेड है, we don't have any
Possibly
problem.
nahi hai. Anyways, guys, so I am sure some of you might have just tried for hackathons. तो hackathon में अगर participate किया है तो कुछ तो solve किया होगा. So you can tell us that idea also. We would like to hear it. If anyone did, and if anyone didn't, you can just come up with a new one.
Okay, no worries. I guess
Hmm?
Simplify T website of clinicaltrials.government. Would you like to elaborate?
You can speak up, because I think typing takes too much time. Oh. Okay. Okay, so that's nice. So, guys, I know that you might be thinking about like existing platform and the thing. So, anyone has like an out of the box idea, like pura different? नहीं है तो कोई भी problem नहीं है. That's fine. You can think of it later also.
So if you don't have any problem right now, अगर कोई current solution है, you think that this feature can be added, you can also tell it. If you want certain feature in particular application.
Hello,
That's
am
nice.
I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a problem that I face usually, right? So we are using several libraries like when doing projects and all. So a lot of time what happens is I don't know how good a library is. So what I feel is there's the lack of some platform, some central platform where people can rate libraries and frameworks that we use for some projects.
Mm-hmm.
So that's some problem that I feel can be thought upon and worked upon.
That's a good one.
I
Can
guess
you?
maybe we should go
Yeah,
for the
Q&A.
problem.
Oh,
Q&A.
okay. Yeah. So, okay, fine. No problem. We got good existing problems ke solution and new problems and solutions. Pretty nice. So, okay. Yeah. So, अगर किसी के पास Q&A हो, like,
If you guys want to ask any question to sir, you are free to ask. You can unmute, you can write in chat.
Right. Feel free to ask anything about this or anything in general. If you would want to ask anything that you are having a dilemma with, I'm good with it. I can help you with that.
Guys.
No questions? Okay. Either you got everything or you got nothing.
I think people here are a little shy.
Yes, it's fine, guys. If you should, just type it in the chat box. We have questions, so.
That is quite
sure.
technical. How to fetch data of nearby devices working on same application using some location API.
What kind of data are you talking about, man? Are you building the next security breach? Geolocations. Okay. So you're trying to fetch geolocations of different people with some APIs? Something like this?
Yes, sir.
Right, like something like we have this for the what's that app that we made for COVID, something like this, right?
No, not that one, like Ola.
Like Ola. Okay, Ola is like very, it has a very complex design by nature, but so about geolocations, if you get into detail how Ola or something Uber is working, first thing is that I would recommend you not to build your own system, but get some APIs from Google to work with it. But otherwise, if you're solving something like if you want those geolocations and everything, basically there are systems in which if you have your own web application that is registered and all those people who are connected to it, there is a very simple thing that there can be a central location at which all that data is coming in. Then whoever is looking for that data can be sorted over that server and can be passed on to different users or whatever, like in the nearby application. How do you calculate if it is nearby or not? Everything is in coordinates. So all that information is like sent and the distance is calculated to some extent. Then you have to optimize it depending upon things like how can you optimize it? You can basically already separate out your data into different sectors. So anybody who is not from the same sector, you would not even consider calculating the distance between those two people. So they cannot be in a nearby zone. In that sense, you can actually, if there are 100 users and everybody is trying to look out for it in the nearby locations, you don't have to calculate the distance from hundreds of users and like a permutation combination thing. That would be too inefficient. How would you want to do it? First, you separate out them in your coordinate system. Like this is a sector and all those people who are in a sector have a chance of being in the nearby locations. And all from that locations, you try to divide that sector into subsectors, or after that, you can start looking on the permutation combination that, okay, in this subsector, there are 5 people. So maybe they're in the nearby zone. Let me just see which one is the nearest one. If this is the nearest one, then I can refer to this cab for the next Ola ride or something like this. Master slave architecture is basically not solving the complete problem. It is for actually having a redundant system in which if something happens, you have something to back it up, something like this. But it's a very complicated problem that you're asking. It would take me a little bit of a review to see what you're doing and how are you coming up with it. I wouldn't be able to help you in deeper details unless I actually know the scope of things. So yeah. How can an engineer become a UX designer? So designers is also kind of an engineer only, right? I mean, you are making things. So you are still in the engineering field, but about UX designer, basically, so there are multiple domains of designing. You can become a web developer, and all the web developers are somewhat responsible for some designs about the web applications that they are making. Other than that, you can actually become just a visual graphic developer, something like somebody who makes YouTube channel arts or some arts for the website. That okay, you need some graphics for your website, you want a minimal design, but then you can see, like we have our like what I am running right now. I'm running a small initiative. You can check out my website also. There are a lot of illustrations. All those illustrations would require somebody who would have a tablet and a pen and would try to sort things out, maybe use other Canvas and Illustrator and all those things. So it's more or less a little bit of a job in the freelancing side. A lot of companies might hire you, but if you're looking to get into it, try to make a good portfolio and try to jump into freelancing as soon as possible. It's going to be good because you build your profile with time. So you'll get really good contracts in that sense. How, because, okay. Correct. Avinash, I don't think this is the right place to ask the technical part of it. I would love to see your code someday. Maybe you can come to my server someday and I can see your code and everything. I run a small Discord server. I'll just send up the link over here. Other people also, I have my people like from me and some people other than me. We have a big network of engineers from the top tech companies like Google, Facebook, all working together for the students to mentor them, to guide them. If you're looking for any guidance, we are running our own course. Our course is also going to start very soon. Everything is absolutely free, by the way. Nothing, we're not making any profit or something. This is not an advertisement, just to help the students out. You can actually join in and come and have some help if you would want that, something like this. What else with you, Sam? You said something about the initiative, right? All right, so just talking about this, basically what we saw is that there are a lot of colleges, and with those colleges, what's happening is that so there are very less societies like this. A lot of people do not even actually know about coding. If they know about coding, all they know is about competitive coding. That too are very, very less. This is a very good initiative that you guys are pulling out. But there is still a big disconnect between what is required in the market and what we are actually learning in the college days. So I remember my time, I didn't know much. So what I would do, like any good person who is a little bit serious about their career would do, is try to bang on all the walls, try to look out which wall would turn into a door. You wouldn't know where to go. And there are not much, you cannot expect a lot of guidance from your seniors. They also don't know much. Only those people who are actually in the industry might be able to help you in that sense. So what I and a few others like me discovered is that there is a big disconnect, and we need to bridge that gap. We are trying to build an ecosystem in which people like you guys, students, can work with each other and try to get things done with each other. And there is a lot of accountability, a lot of discussions and collaborations that can happen. On the other end, we are trying to get a course in which we are trying to make, like from scratch, we are trying to make a full stack developer with all the necessary skills to get you into any market that you would want in like a 6 to 8 months of time. And everything is like absolutely free. So all that, and with all the mentorship that is to be given by all the top tech companies and all those people like from the companies that I just mentioned. And a lot of people are volunteering for this because it's an initiative for the students. We are trying to help them. So if you would want, I'll just send up the Discord link and the website link also. You can check us out. If you think you would want some help or something, we can add some value to you, then sure, that should be fine. How can we start learning about designing scalable systems? Most of the info on internet is about designing for specific scenario. Right. Okay. So this is a very good question about the theme that we are talking about, Hardik. So there are two books that I would recommend. One is called as Clean Code by Robert C. Martin. This is about how do you write good code. Getting a good system, it's very important that you write clean code first. So it's a very good book that you can read, and there's a playlist that somebody made from his lectures that covers most of it on YouTube as well. So you can go and see that also. And there is if you really want to get into the depth of it, like there are multiple courses for system designing and all. You can get those courses from some places like Groking System Design, and all those are very famous resources. But if you really want to get your hands dirty and like full-time get into it for like a very big chunky book for that, which has all the reference for all the good things that you would want to learn, is called as Designing Data Intensive applications reliable and maintainable, something like this. So designing data intensive applications, if you search, you'll get that book on Amazon, something. I have that book with me, but it's a very big book. So if you're committed enough, you can look into that as well. It's a very good resource. So yeah, I'll send that link to you as well. Okay. And then we have Amazon has a lot of engineers working on each of their own products. How is it handled from the technical and managerial point of view? Right. Okay. All right. So yes, Amazon is a very big company, and there are like millions and billions of lines of code that we have written. Then there is the management also. So the team sizes usually are around 10 to 12 with one manager, and there is a seniority level like SD1, then there are senior SDs, then there are team leads, engineering leads, and all those people are coming in place. Everybody has a very definite role that they have to play and get things sorted for anything that is of their level. Like if I am facing any issue, I am SD1 if in my company, then if an SD2 can help me, I would go to them, and things are like this sorted. There are a lot of managerial goals that we have to achieve in a year. So a lot of team leads and engineer leads are working on those goals to get them sorted in a certain sense that yes, these are the goals that these of the teams can arrange and all those things. Then some of the senior developers will make the system design, something like what we covered here, but in much more depth. Then all those services would come in place, and there will be a lot of testing and everything. With the management side also, there are a lot of things going on that we need this to be done by this time. All these launches of features also are to be launched, and everything is going on. Everything like happens in that sense. So like management and tech sides both collaborate to get things done. Okay, then we have how any new feature is designed and validated in a big company like Amazon. Right. So basically, this is a paradigm, right? So if you are running your own startup, it's very small system. You can take a lot of risk. The impact of the risk is not that high, but you wouldn't want to be slow. You would want to produce fast. In the case of something like a tech giant like Amazon, it's just the opposite. The impact of a risk is way too high, and you can lose a lot of potential customers. You can lose a lot of business. You can also have a lot of loss if you don't do all the quality checks before releasing any new feature. So there is a lot of things that go on when you build a system. So first there is a design. Every such phase that I'm talking about, there are multiple rounds of review that happen on those phases, and then only the things go forward. So then there is a design, then the design discussions happen, the approvals happen, then the work is distributed amongst different teams, different services working on something related to that part. Then everybody starts collaborating on a weekly or a daily basis, and that how much from team A, B, C, how much work has been done, is any team getting any blocker from some reason or something. All that happens, everything is in place, and we do our unit testing, integration testing, all those things. After everything is sorted out, then it is meant for deployment. And then also when it is deploying, if it is a very critical change, we would not deploy it like in one go. First we would deploy it to like a percentage of the servers that are running for us. Some people amongst the complete spectrum of people that are our audience would be actually seeing that for the first time. If the response from them is positive, if things are going the way we are intending them to go, then we would release it to a bigger chunk, and then the bigger chunk. So it's a gradual release, not that a feature has been launched so everyone has that access right now. It goes on in phases. So 1% of the people that are coming to our website will be shown that new feature, then 5%, 10%, 20%, 50%, so on. Okay. If you're building a platform that a lot of people will use, and it's information like social media, website, okay, it's informal, okay, then how do you go about doing things? Okay, a lot of social network sites feel professional, so if you design something fancy, there's a chance that users don't take it seriously. So how do you go about it? Right. So this question is basically about the design part and the feel of it. think about the time that we were all on Facebook and Instagram was only for some people who were actually early adopters or early movers in the technology side. Think about at that point of time, what were you looking on Facebook was some posts. Then every post would have some text, and some of those posts might have some images, might not have some images, but the focus, the intention of that application is that yes, there will be textual message in the image might come or not, but you can communicate with different people. That's the social media vibe that they are trying to provide. What Instagram wanted to do is that no, we are not really here for talking. Yes, talking is somewhat we can talk about something and all those things, but the intention is to get the visual post out as much as possible. So the way they have designed the whole platform is that the intention is very clear. That okay, this is required and this required for that. What a person can do is like it takes a little more effort for that person to write a comment, but the comments are also not that big, and every big comment doesn't look that good on the platform. So people are kind of discouraged to write big comments. Something like it has to be concise in a way. It is not here that you talk about things like this. Similarly, you go on another platform like LinkedIn. LinkedIn is also a social platform. It is meant for professional purposes, but it's a social media platform, something like this. So how is the feel of LinkedIn different? The presentation and the intention is that it remains professional. Why? Firstly, your profile is all about your professional stuff, your years of qualification, what all have you done. Then you hold that to your profile as a badge of where you come from, what are you when you're commenting something, when you're writing something else. So this intention is very much imbibed in the UX UI that you're making. If you're making an informal design, it is meant to imply something, right? You would want it to be for a certain age gap, for a certain, like you would want to optimize it for some people, maybe for the Gen Z that is happening right now, or something you would want to make a something like TikTok or something. So everything has a feel, and you have to decide what your social media application is going to do. What is it actually meant to do? Then we'll see what people are using it for. That's a separate case. But what do you want it to do? What do you want people to do here? So that's the feel that you go in, and every design has a lot of reinforcement factors in it. If Instagram doesn't look good for big contents, I wouldn't think twice to make a big comment on something unless somebody has already offended me. India Pakistan thing going on somewhere, something like people are going crazy in those chats. But other than that, usually it is meant that you will write one line or two lines. This is all by the design. You see how things are the best in this platform, and then you start working on the way you would want to behave on that platform. So you first define the theme, and then only you would get on to things like this. All right. Anyways, I'll just send up all the information for the resources I just did. And with this, I think we are done with the questions. So maybe if, right, I've pasted it out. I'm not sure if it is showing it in the URL form. You can just copy the links, just copy this message. It has the links for the resources as well. If you would want to come to the server that I am leading right now, then you can come there as well. But I guess that's it, right? Thank you everyone for coming.
This was amazing to have you here.
Right, thank you. Same here. All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Okay, guys, just stay there. We are posting a form link. So enter your mail and all before you leave in that. So we're just posting it in the link. And we'll share the PPT also later with you guys.
So in case you guys have any doubt, feel free to DM us.
Yep. We are there everywhere. Most probably WhatsApp, so just message us on WhatsApp. Okay, guys, I hope you actually liked this session. We made this very vast for you guys. So also as none like very rare people are there. So based on this, I think you might have had a good idea on how to actually create a product. So you use this whole knowledge in actually hackathons also. तो हम लोग like एकता की DSC और मेरी DSC and many couple other DSC, we are like what do we say, hosting a really good hackathon so that it's equalized for every single year. तो हैकबैश का मे बी अगर सुना है तो अच्छा है, अगर नहीं सुना है तो हम लोग ग्रुप पे डाल देंगे अगेन. तो द रजिस्ट्रेशन एंड 1 मार्च को है, तो उसमें अभी पीपीटी ऑप्शनल है. हमने वी हैव लाइक पुट पीपीटी ऑप्शनल राइट नाउ फॉर यू गाइस. So we'll send the link again. So what you all need to do is form a team 2 to 4 size and then just apply and register. Sirf idea chahiye, and I think you guys can come up with really good ideas also. We're sure with that. So Ekta and I will share all the links with you guys, and you can like spread it to your friends as well. So I hope you all enjoyed this session, and thank you for attending.
You guys can put the same idea you're putting in the solution challenge over there. So it's totally fine. We have amazing prizes for you. We'll be declaring some of the prizes soon. But we have prizes for all the participants. So go ahead, do participate in it. It's going to be fun. If you guys have any queries or doubts, you can ask else. Thank you so much.